Christof Kreb, 55 years old, was born on January 27 in 1966. He was married to 50-year-old Yvette Seagate. The couple had been married for over 26 years. Yvette was a retired neonatal intensive care unit nurse. She still holds her nursing license but decided to stay home to care for the couple's children. Both Christof and Yvette were Army veterans. Christof was an airborne ranger, and Yvette was a neonatal nurse in the Army. Christof retired from the military on disability. After the military, Christof opened a local gun shop called Specialty Sports and Supply. He and his business partner opened their first store in Colorado Springs in 1994, and in 2005 relocated their business to 4285 East Fountain Boulevard. The store sells firearms and knives. Christof was also president of the Morgan's Shooting Club. Christof, as well as his oldest son, Tristan, were competitive shooters. The two often competed together. The couple's oldest daughter, Morgan, is a freshman at the U.S. Air Force Academy. She is a star member of the school's rifle team and won a bronze medal in the 2020 Olympic air rifle trials. She plans to become a fighter pilot. She was working to teach her 9-year-old brother how to shoot to compete in the U.S. Olympics. The couple had 3 biological children. When their youngest son was born with primordial dwarfism, Yvette wanted to look into adopting more children with the same condition. She wanted her son to feel like he had people like him in his life. When she began researching children for adoption with dwarfism, she found that children in China born with the same condition were being woefully neglected. The couple decided to adopt as many of those children as possible. So they adopted 5 children from China with dwarfism. 1 child is blind, and another was born without legs. The family consisted of Morgan, age 20, Tristan, age 21, Dawson, age 17, Bram, age 14, Griffin, age 10, Remington, age 8, Barrett, age 9, and Felicity, age 13. Dwarfism can lower the immune system, so Yvette took great care to shelter her younger children during the pandemic. The younger children attended Discovery Canyon School. The family lived at the 1300 block of Playa Drive in Glendale, Colorado, an affluent part of town. The neighborhood is quiet and secluded. On October 30 in 2021, at around 10:08 a.m. a 911 call came in from a young child telling the dispatcher that one of her siblings inside the home is not moving, and needed help. El Paso County Sheriff's deputies, Monument Police Department officers, Palmer Lake Police Department officers, and members of the Donald Westcott Fire Department hurried to the scene. Upon entry, they found Christof and Yvette Kreb, and 2 of their 9 children, Felicity and Barrett, deceased from gunshot wounds. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit detectives arrived at the scene to process evidence. Due to the nature of the crimes, and without all the details, a reverse 911 call was sent out to the community, advising residents within a 2-mile radius of the crime scene to shelter in place, lock their doors and windows, and stay away from the outside walls. This was a safety precaution until investigators could evaluate the evidence. It was rescinded a short while later after it was determined there was no further threat to the community. Evidence indicates that Christof murdered his wife and 2 adopted children, then turned the gun on himself, committing suicide. Karen Hamblin, next-door neighbor to the Krebs, told reporters, "For us, it was shocking because it was our next-door neighbor. We wouldn't have suspected anything like that. It's always a tragedy when young kids are involved. I don't understand how parents could harm their children." Another friend told a radio station that both parents were loving and kind, but said that the pandemic had been very hard for everyone. She went on to say that the COVID isolation was extremely difficult for families. Yvette posted in May of 2020 that some of the Kreb children had not left the home for months due to being more susceptible during the pandemic. Coroner Dr. Leon Kelly concluded that all 4 victims died from gunshot wounds. Both children, Felicity and Barrett, died from single gunshot wounds. Yvette had 2 gunshot wounds. And Christof had a single gunshot wound to the head. The children were home at the time due to being home-schooled by their mother Yvette. The rest of the children were in school at the time of the murders. Close family friends told reporters that Christof was struggling with mental health issues, and the isolation from COVID-19 may have added to the strain. Lynn Hammerloth, a friend of Yvette, said she was a very special and dear friend who was always available to help. She wrote this to her friend on a Facebook post, "But more importantly, you taught us all how to fight for our kids. We all supported you, and when you mess with one mama bear, you mess with us all. We are a strong, tight-knit community, and today our hearts are just breaking for your family. Rest in peace, my sweet friend. Know you were much loved, and we will be praying and thinking about those who are left behind. Forever." The Discovery Canyon School released a public statement saying, "The news of an apparent murder-suicide within our community is heartbreaking. Although we are in contact with local authorities, it is early in their investigation, and we do not have confirmed specifics. But we will be providing supports for our students. Starting on Tuesday morning, we will have counseling for students who are in need. Support is provided by school mental health professionals and trained Academy District 20 crisis counselors. If a student is in crisis and needs immediate support, please contact your nearest emergency room, behavioral health center, or 911. Moments like these are hard to process, and leave us with more questions than answers. We must therefore come together and provide for each other support during this difficult time." The couple's oldest biological son, Tristan, is a cadet at the Air Force Academy. The Academy released a statement saying, "We are providing every available resource to ensure the cadet affected in this tragedy has all the support needed. The cadet squadron commander has taken the lead in these efforts, and has the support of the entire U.S. Air Force Academy." Neighbor Jerry Hager told reporters in an interview that he met the family at church and the situation has been a shock to their peaceful neighborhood. He went on to say that the Krebs were friendly. He said it's shocking that anything like this would happen in their world. Morgan, the Krebs' oldest daughter, spoke with reporters.
"We're struggling to understand the situation, but we are working hard to move forward, especially for the 3 youngest siblings. None of us could have imagined this would have occurred or predicted this. We will miss them dearly, and we will think about them daily."
Morgan told reporters that she and her older brother Tristan are caring for their younger siblings. She said they were struggling but doing everything in their power to move forward for the younger children. Professor James Ogoloff works in forensic behavioral science, and is the director of the Center for Forensic Behavioral Science at Swinburne University Technology. He says the strategy should be to focus on reducing harm by improving systems and services, and working more closely with children where the risk factors are common. What makes this so difficult is, who can understand why someone would kill a child? Most parents would die for their child. That's what makes this so unusual. The problem is, when we start thinking like that, we become blind to the reality that some parents are a risk to their children, so we need to overcome those biases. However, he does say it's essentially impossible in most cases to predict which parents will kill their children, but we have to put systems in place to give it our best effort. Other researchers in the field state that when parents kill their children, it's a form of extended suicide. They see the children as part of themselves that need to be taken with them to death. In ancient Rome, the ruling patria potestas gave the father the authority and right to kill or have his children killed. Since he gave them life, he had the right to take that life. Studies show that psychopathological factors are present in many of these cases. Particularly depression, which evolves into a psychosis prior to the murders. Authorities are still investigating the motive behind why Kreb decided to murder his wife and 2 adopted children. Funeral and burial arrangements have not been made known to the general public. Christof Kreb had some mental issues that were not addressed. The COVID pandemic did not help the situation. His wife, Yvette, was a very loving person who wanted to help those less fortunate. After adopting 5 children with dwarfism, she devoted her life to giving them the best life possible. It's unfortunate that 2 of these children will never see that future she was working toward. This begs the question, shouldn't potential adoptive parents be more thoroughly interviewed, and given an in-depth psychological test to determine if the family is best for the child? It's highly admirable to adopt children with special needs, but when you have someone with a mental illness that many children adds to the stress factors. Hopefully the remaining children can get therapy, and go on to live happy lives in spite of the tragedy they've experienced. May all the victims rest in peace. That concludes this episode. Keep your eye out for the next volume, coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.